Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this, the Dreamhack 2011 Starcraft 2 tournament. It's brought to you by SteelSeries, Azo, AMD, and of course the one and only Sapphire. My name is TotalBiscuit.
And I am D. Apollo.
And we are back from our scheduled dinner break that, looking at the state of the casters, was definitely required. We found a Day 9 horizontal in the back right there.
He was. He looked like he was dying, but he's ready to give you good games on his channel. But on our channel, we have some fantastic games coming up for these last 3 games. Sen versus Don-Regu is going to be our opening game here. You know, a fantastic Zerg versus Zerg. 2 of the best Zergs in the world going at it. After that, we will go into Dabu versus Select. Dabu managed to scrape through yesterday's Zerg versus Zerg only group because Phoenix didn't make it.
Yep. But
going up against Select, who's been performing very well most recently. And then finally, within this 3 best-of-3 schedule we have, the last game, oh my god, Sen versus Hero.
Oh,
could it get any better than that?
That game could not possibly be terrible. It's gonna have to be fantastic. And after a lot of fairly one-sided 2-0s that we've seen coming up to this point, I definitely want to see that. Yes. Oh my, the Taiwanese player versus Korean, brought in by Team Liquid. The guy who's multitasking is going to crazy, over 9,000. Super Saiyan levels.
It is very, very good. So to also update for the rest of the groups, in Group A, as you guys should already know, if you don't, it was Puma and Huck who advanced.
Yep.
Idra losing within that group. Group B, Sheth first, Naniwa second. Close.
Very
Third place was Cloud, and surprisingly, Stefano out in 4th place. ESWC champ, IPL 3 champ out really early there.
Yeah.
And then into Group C that has just finished up most recently. Cyplo goes through 2-1. Very, very surprising result. And Genius in 2nd place there. Siren's Death Angel unfortunately couldn't make it out of that group. And in Group D, Rhett advances 3-0. Once again looking on fantastic form. And oh my god, Nama makes it through.
He is back.
The Dreamhack Winter champion of last year scrapes through and crawls back from losing 1-0 versus Thorze, and pulled the series back to 2-1 on knocks Thorze out and grabs the 2nd place slot.
That's an upset. There's no doubt about that one. I don't think anyone was really expecting that. Nama has not performed well at all since his win there. He's had team problems. He's just now into a new team, East Sahara, after Virus is just bleeding members all over the place. And looks like it's been a good acquisition for East Sahara so far. That gets into it's an interesting little bit of feedback we're having.
This thing's like beeping at me.
Is it beeping at you?
Oh, wait, no,
battery low, maybe?
It's okay. It was weird.
I don't trust it.
I know.
There could be gremlins inside.
See, it's doing it again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with that.
No,
I'm like so scared of it. I'm like, oh my.
It's going to explode.
I know.
I think I know what might be it. If you go under that table, you'll find wonderful things. I'm going to trust you to do a bit of production here.
Can someone come under and touch me?
No, they can't.
I mean, touch this stuff?
At some point you have to do it yourself when others won't do it for you. So I would suggest that you reach under that. Now to the bottom right, there are 2 little sliders, Bring them down ever so slightly. That might kill the feedback. This is going to be interesting to watch.
If the sound blows up, it wasn't me.
We'll put on your gravestone that you did it for esports.
All right.
Yep. The 2 black sliders under the little green bars. Are you ready? Just slightly down, Not too much. There. Okay, there. Right. I think we're good.
It's like trying to defuse a bomb. I'm like, all right.
I think we're okay. There we go.
All right. If anyone wants to come tickle under here, you're more than welcome to. Anyway, and then going into the next groups, Group E and F, Sase, Select, Nurcho, Dabu, great group, and Group F as well, Sen, Elfie, Don-Regu, and Hero. And can't really leave these 2 guys just sitting in there. So,
absolutely not. Let's get some CBZ on. Hell yes.
All right, so let's get ready to go. Sen versus Don-Regu, first map, Metalopolis, TSL3 Metalopolis.
TSL3 Metalopolis. Yes, and what a great map for ZBZ. What a great map for Zerg in general. So if you take a great map for a Zerg and then you put 2 Zerg on it, that means it's twice as good. That's science, folks. You can't argue with it. All right, are you ready? I certainly am. Let's get into this right here. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Complexity MVP Don-Regu. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Zerg to the south of the Metalopolis versus his opponent in the close air position. A slow but steady Overlord pass will be happening very shortly. It is from the manliest team name ever, Gama.Sen. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Zerg to the west.
I actually spilled coffee. I'm so excited. I'm like dribbling and stuff. I'm sorry. This is a fantastic game.
Yeah, he gets even more hyped. He starts throwing coffee at the crowd. They're screaming, scolding faces and everything. It's like, this is esports.
Everyone's like washing themselves in coffee. I'm like, oh my god, it's Sen versus Domregu. And so far, we do have the extractor trick coming out for Sen here. And in these positions, when overlords cross each other, it's naturally going to be a defensive game.
Yes.
A very macro-based game, simply because the overlords are going to see a spawning pool go down, and then basically to counter that, you literally build the spawning pool one supply ahead, or maybe even two supply ahead.
Yeah, it's like a game of Zerg Chicken, really. It's like, who's going to build it first? Who's going to build it first? Any of you have played the mod Battlecraft, for instance, without Fog of War on? Who's going to build the first units? That's really what happens here. And then you end up with them going to 100 supply and no spawning pool, build 5 hatcheries. It's terrible. So
basically, both of these players are going to hatch first, and you can keep the overlord in the base until literally the spawning pool is like 95% complete. So you have plenty of time. You're going to see everything. And in this case, you might actually see both players build a spawning pool on 18. It really doesn't matter. So we see Domregu going ahead and be like, all right, my extractor's on 16. Sen's like, all right, well, mine's like 20 seconds ahead of yours. I mean, later than yours.
Yep.
And so this is how the game goes. And then we're going to probably see the spawning pool come down from Domregu very, very shortly here. And then Sen's just going to literally get it a couple of seconds later, which gives him a little bit of an advantage here. And meanwhile, these overlords literally will stay there for as long as possible. In these positions, it's very easy to create like an overlord highway from the bases. And you can literally see stuff coming before it leaves the base, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So in that regard, it becomes a more of a defensive game even more as the game does go on and develop.
Yes, it does, and that's good, actually, because we do see a lot of ZVZ solved in, say, the first 8 or 9 minutes with the Zergling-Baneling war. One group out of place, and that can be it in a very equal matchup with those very volatile units. But here, that is not happening. We are not seeing anything of that sort. Spawning pool is almost complete for both, and now is about the time where you're going to start moving those overlords away because of the threat of the queens. DRG is going to keep his in there for quite a while. The queen's going to start here for Sen pretty much immediately, and actually if he leaves that there for too much longer, then he's going to lose that.
That's going to be okay. The most important thing is, like, Sen has seen that Domregu is still mining gas. Likewise, over in this base, Domregu can see that Sen is also mining gas, but is also in his range, seeing that there's only 1, 2 in there, so not 3. So already both of these players are trying to get as much information as possible so they can kind of choose their strategy as the game goes on here. So it looks like Domregu is going to be planting down that Baneling nest, and likewise we should see it come out from Sen here. And both of these players going toe-to-toe. The defensive player usually has an advantage because they're already on creep. They can move across easier to get the Banelings ready to kind of plant onto Zerg to try to run by and so on. And we do have a spine crawler from Sen. On Domregu, he isn't building a spine crawler yet, so he's actually got a little bit more money right now and is probably throwing him into drones. As you can see, 3 more drones have been made, 4 by Sen right now. And so far, toe-to-toe. And I really don't think we're going to see that much aggression as Domregu throws his own spine crawler.
That's a big
crawler down as well.
Oh, I didn't know you could speak Zerg, Apollo.
I know, it's Klingon actually.
Ah, very impressive.
It was.
That's good stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Very, very good stuff. Today is a good day for your throat to die.
I know. It's actually doing a lot better than yesterday, surprisingly. I've had tea, I've had coffee. It's good. It's actually okay. My nose, on the other hand, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, we don't want to delve in there. We never know what we might find.
I know. There's more creep in my nose than on this minimap right now.
Yes, it's very, very true, yes. Oh, dear God. Yes, the creep generation, you managed to take up to that on hatchery. I'm not sure how you managed that. Oh, well, whatever the case, we've got Banelings coming out for both. Really, these are very much defensive Banelings. Got to get at least 2 just in case somebody tries a cheeky run by. Speed is up for both players, I believe, at this point. And a layer tech started for Domregu. This is an interesting move, and Sen is actually morphing in significantly more Banelings. But that said, DRG could do that as well. He's going to have a look and see what he can see, and he's going to notice that this is a very, very difficult area to attack. Oh, splash!
That's actually a bit of a trade-off there, which Domregu won, and as you can see, going in there doing damage to the economy line as well. Is he going to get out? No! Excellent move by Sen, making sure that he was kept in there, and 1 link for a Baneling, not a good trade there, but still toe-to-toe, and we actually see deviation already. Evolution Chamber is down for Sen. He should be starting +1 missile attacks. There it is. The layer usually is going to be down about halfway when the +1 is being built. And then he can go to layer and get +2 immediately. On the other hand, we actually have the layer first, and gas has all been taken. So it looks like we're going to see Roach versus Muta. And the thing is, we have to see, if Sen wants to win this game, he cannot let this game drag out. He needs to be hitting timings, and especially on a map like this, it's very wide open, where you have to go in with Roach and Ling, and because of that, Donregu has to build additional spine crawlers. He has to defend before mutas come out. I'm wondering if we actually will see Lair. We should see Lair coming very, very shortly as this upgrade goes on. More gas has been taken here, but you notice the big difference between tech right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the Spire on its way up. It's already at least a quarter done. Now, Donregu is able to get into the base once again. He can now confirm the presence of the Roach Warren and the fact that there isn't a lair. He sees that very obviously. In the meantime, a large Baneling detonation ends up hitting a few drones there. We can see that's workers killed. It actually was only 2. It looked like a lot more. Banelings are just so pretty. I can never tell how many. But this large forest of spine crawlers at the front here should prevent any kind of aggression coming in. But Sen is going to push forward. He's going to have the +1 by the time this Roach is hit. And we are waiting on this Spire to come out.
And so the lair is on its way now, so he can start +2 straight away.
Yeah.
And he has to get ready to go soon. You see 7 Roaches are in the making. Donregu knows he has to hold. So right now, Donregu is trying to save as much lava as possible for mutas. 4 spine crawlers is going to cut it with these Lings as well. So right now, Sen can't really bust through because this, well, actually, he does know about all 4 spine crawls actually, so it's going to be very difficult to bust through. So if he can't bust through, he has to take a fast third base, is what we're seeing now, and then basically have a better economy than his opponent. He needs to start thinking about throwing down some spore crawlers as well inside his main and natural, and really minimize damage that he's going to obviously do or come from the Mutalisk. So you can already see the overlords are being brought to the natural, spore crawlers come down. Immediately we're going to have to see a Hydrogen come down. He doesn't quite have enough to go for the Infestor Pit, so he's literally going to have to rely on Hydras alone to defend.
Yep, and the problem is getting enough out in order to make that happen. And Hydrogen has now started. Unfortunately, the mutas are already on the field. There's already 8 up, and Donregu, Mutalisk control Donregu. What can you really say about that other than it is pretty much impeccable? It is some of the best in the world. And Sen's going to be hard-pressed to defend against that. He is, of course, very, very wise to have done that. The problem is the Roach Warren is under a bit of threat right now. Now, they don't have an upgrade, so it's going to take a while to work their way through it. But the thing is, the splash is actually killing the Queen at the back. More Queens being brought in, and DRG would love to take those, but it is too risky. Nicely held there, and now 9 Hydralisks coming in, which will form a nasty Roach Hydra composition.
Yeah, very nice there by Donregu, but at the same time, Sen did lose a few lava injects there because of having to bring the Queens. Has now started building quite heavily into drones. You can see the third base is going to be on its way up right now. And what we should be seeing as well from Donregu is a lot of Lings on its way out to start harassing the third base while harassing with Mutalisk. Because, I mean, otherwise, the economy is just going to be too good for Sen, and he's going to be able to defend. Oh! Nothing actually goes down.
DRG is some kind of Mutalisk superhero. Anyone else would have lost mutas there, but he reacted just the right time. That said, mutas are still injured, and that's something you should consider. It means that any kind of big engagements where you're guaranteed to lose a few mutas are a bit risky.
Sen is actually going to push out now, and he's just going to try and bust through. Remember, against the muta count, pushing through is always good. And Sen, I mean, Donregu wants to keep Sen in this base, so he's going to counterattack, and hopefully Sen will come around. If not, these Banelings have to hit on the Hydras.
They do, not the Roaches. That's incredibly important. DRG, does he have Baneling speed? He does, I think, actually. No, does not. He hasn't got that finished yet. This is a really bad timing right now for Donregu. Okay. He's going to have to do this as well.
He's got to go.
He must. He's going to strike.
Oh, he's got a big hit on the Hydras.
Oh, very nice right there. And he should be able to clean this up so good there by Donregu. And this is not exactly going to be an efficient engagement here, but he smashes the force apart and Sen. Oh, wow. An unbelievable hold there by DRG. The detonations at the back did the job, even without Baneling's speed.
Meanwhile, Donregu killed the third base with Lings, was harassing the drone line as well. Well, actually didn't get any drone kills, actually, but did kill the third base. Now, these Hydras, with literally, I mean, once again, speaking Zerg, the third base has gone down, so he doesn't have the gas income to go for Infestors. And without Infestors and Fungal Growth, Banelings are just going to go to town on Hydras all day long.
Yep, and he's trying to work his way through the spore crawlers. Like, DRG is actually throwing a surprising number of mutas away to do this because he knows that if he breaks it, then there really isn't an answer for that. And down go 2 Queens as well. Spore crawlers taking damage. Roach Warren could be sniped off here by DRG as well if he likes. There's nothing really stopping him. The Hydras have now moved into position, so everything is okay there. And I would perhaps expect him to wheel around, which is exactly what he's doing, and head to the third.
Yeah, you can start harassing this third base. More importantly, Donregu's got a third base up and running, has taken a fourth base as well, which Sen can see. Sen is trying to go to Infestors, but he has to get the upgrade, then the Infestors, and he doesn't have enough gas, so literally the Hydra count's going to be too low. Donregu is just controlling this game so well, and Sen invested so much into that push that it needed to work, and it didn't work, and now he's so far behind.
Yeah, he has lost more resources than his opponent, but the more telling thing is the fact that DRG has been mining from that third base, and Sen has not been able to do so.
Oh, he's losing this a few minutes here, but it's a good trade-off, especially when he's so far ahead.
Yeah, the Hydra count isn't actually that high, so it's not enough DPS coming in right there. He didn't get the +2 out as fast as we thought he would. More Hydras coming in now, so he's going to have to retreat, but still, trading the Hydras for the Mutas at this stage when he has an economic advantage, that's okay.
And to be honest, Donregu doesn't even have to stay on mutas anymore. He can just go the exact same composition as his opponent, but he has like twice the economy.
Yeah.
He has twice the macro as well, because he has a macro hatch. He can produce twice as amount of units. So all of a sudden, Donregu is just so far ahead. Sen is going to try to take a gold base, and that's never ever going to work.
Well, I think DRG is more interested in just crashing into those Hydras. If he's able to get the Banelings to connect with them, that'll be really messy. He needs to move away from that. Oh no! Hydra's decimated right there, and that means DRG's Mutas get a free ride all the way. Oh my god, I was going to say, he's going to get a free ride into Sen City right now, and Sen is in a horrible position after taking a significant detonation there. The Mutas are coming in to clean up what they can see. There's a Spore Crawler there, but he takes the Queen and effortlessly swings around. GG. Donregu, what an amazing performance there against Sen, who, let's be honest, Sen is no slouch in ZVZ.
Yeah, Sen, I mean, it's not his best matchup by far. Sen's best matchup is versus Protoss by far. Yeah. It just demolishes Protoss. Very, very good. As you, in recent tournaments, you've seen Sen take down MC like MC was nobody.
Yeah.
And MC's like two-time GSL champion. It's like, what? But Sen is very good there. Zerg versus Zerg, Sen's already like, but at the same time, Donregu is just an all-round monster. He is so good at StarCraft 2 right now.
Oh yes, and as we are seeing, Donregu is putting on a stellar performance up until this point. Very few identifiable mistakes really in his build. Everything worked out really, really well for him. The engagements were good. There were some at this end that you might have said, well, you know, he's throwing away Mutas, but it doesn't matter. He's establishing the fourth. His third remains unharassed the entire time. And Banelings, every single time he's using Banelings, he is always getting good connections.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sen's push, he didn't really expect Banelings to be out in time either.
Yep.
Or not really out in time, but out at all.
Yeah.
Really thinking that Donregu would focus all his gas into Mutalisk, and then that push would have been a lot stronger. But unfortunately, Banelings on speed, and they were hidden back as well. Yep. Managed to detonate, and as soon as they did, everything went down immediately. 4 Spine Crawls, Lings, Mutas to clean it up. Super easy. And from there, Sen just was so far behind. So if Donregu is going to play the same, Sen has to change it around. He can play the same style, or he needs to think about not pushing out with that, using these units to actually defend to get a third base up easier, make sure he's creep spreading as well. Creep spread actually very, very important against Mutalisk because Hydras can obviously move around a lot easier.
Yeah,
and then he can get that third base up and running for the 5th and 6th gas, where then it's a lot easier to get the Infestors out to actually start to deal with this composition.
Yeah, at that point he actually has the options in order to deal with it. And the push was, I mean, most of the time you would say, well, that was a fairly reasonable timing for the push. Honestly, try to get in there while the Mutas are out of position and go and crash down on that. But it just came down to an excellent defense there by Donregu. It was a good choice to go with the Banelings. The fact that he managed to connect without speed is what was really impressive. He was on creep, but with the roaches at the front, really that shouldn't have worked out the way that it did. Donregu with excellent control there.
And in this group, in Group F, is one of the group of deaths in the second day here at Dreamhack.
Yep.
There's literally no room for error. There's literally none. In some of the other groups, they were a little bit softer, so there were a few areas to make mistakes. But in this kind of group, you lose a best of 3, you're out. That's it.
Yep.
Like, it's so difficult. And like, even if you don't go out immediately because you lose one game, you have to go against players like Hero, and you have to win. And there's so much pressure going into that game. Imagine now if Sen just goes 0-2, loses with Donregu. Sen has to play against Hero after, and it's like, this is going to be difficult. And if you win the first game, it just relieves so much pressure. And